What's up, everybody?
Whoa!
Welcome.
Welcome back.
A very special New Year's Eve edition of From the Hill. Jack McGuigan here with, as always, Nikki the Prof, Boo-ha. Say hi, Nikki.
Hey, how's everybody doing today?
So, super pumped about today's show. Actually, I'm really amped up for this. I was texting with the Prof last night. I've got some great rants I want to go on.
Yeah.
Our phone lines are blowing up right now. We're gonna talk about that too. We got a couple local things going on. Some funny little bets, and everybody who's involved in them knows what we're talking about. So we're gonna cover them. That's gonna be great. But the huge thing on the docket for today is going to be I've got a theme for instant replay. I sent this to Boo-ha last night. I've got a theme.
Wait. Do they know who? They know who Boo-ha is? All right.
Right here.
The Prof.
The Prof.
All right.
I sent it to the Prof last night, and I said, is instant replay changing pro sports? And I've got a theme. I've got 3 big plays. We're going to go over each one. I'm going to show it to you on the iPad here, so you're going to laugh at us. You're going to think it's wonky. Boo-ha does not approve of this.
No, it's okay. We're working with what we got.
We're gonna work with what we got because we want to get it out by 1. Because of course, what are we going to give you before the 1 o'clock game?
Picks, baby.
The pick segment.
Picks,
Everybody
baby. Don't
wants
listen to
see
my
the
picks. Don't listen to my pro picks. Listen to my college picks. That's all I got for you.
So, in defense of Prof, I continue to struggle on college games, although Wisconsin saved me last night. But if you've been listening to the show, Swags is 9-3 ATS NFL the last 4 weeks. That's a pretty good run.
That's
and
pretty good.
I've got a theme for this week's picks as well. It's all about themes on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
All about themes.
All right.
So, let me start with a little housekeeping that I should have done at the beginning of the last video. Remember, we may run long. Don't worry about it. Check the comments section of the video. It's going to lay out the segments for you, timestamped, so you can fast forward to what you want. If you don't want to hear us gas bag about instant replay or go through our local bets, which you're going to want to hear, by the way. The local bet part is awesome. Go ahead and fast forward to the pick segment. Do what you got to do. It'll all be there for you in the comments section, so you can just check it out and get to where you want to get to in the videos. You don't have to waste a ton of time looking at our ugly mugs on New Year's Eve. I know everybody's busy. Any big plans for you, Prof, for New Year's Eve?
I don't know, man. I think we're going out to a friend's house of the wife. Obviously, friends of mine, too, over the years. We're going to have a good time.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I'm going to...
I'll probably be asleep by 11.
Yeah, we're going to have a bunch of people here, actually, to Swag's Casa here.
Oh.
The old Camelot. We're going to be bouncing around.
That invitation missed the house.
Yeah, well, but we're leaving. We're going to bounce around. We're going to go to the Rib House.
Yeah.
All these bands playing. Shout out. All right, so let's get started. So where I want to start today, and I'm going to get serious here because I'm really passionate about this.
Get serious, man. Stop playing.
I'm extremely passionate about this topic. And is replay changing pro sports? So I've got 2 NFL plays that I want to focus on and 1 NBA. And I'm going to throw it to Prof first because before I go through the replay, we touched on this one time on the video, actually, I did. And the first play I'm going to is the Jesse James Steelers versus Pats touchdown on the field call that gets reversed. 2 plays later, Ben throws a pick, they lose that game. I think Prof agrees with me that we both feel like the Steelers won that game.
I don't think anybody disagrees. I don't think you can find a person that disagrees with you that was an actual touchdown. And there's a lot of things that goes into that. And we look at a lot of the actual rules of the game. So when anything like this happens, you go in and you look at the wording of the rules, and that does not speak to what the intent of the rules are. And I don't know if you want to get into this right now, but we can dive into it a little bit further. But it doesn't speak to the intent of the rule based on the wording of the rule. And there's a very big difference there.
You're 100% right, and we're gonna delve into that. You are going exactly where I want to go. So the first play here we're going to show you is the Jesse James, Steelers tight end, catch. The rule. Remember, here's the thing about these. So let me start with my theme for the play. This one, actually, and it was brought to you by Major William Getz, big shout, who coined this on From the Hill.
Whatever William wants.
William Getz. Right call, bad rule. And let's show you what that looks like now. So Here's the play right here.
This is like high tech.
It is. This is. I mean, this is it. This is what we do here
All
from
right,
the hill.
here we go. Let's play it out.
Let's play it.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's unbelievable.
All right,
All right, so you see it right here. Now he makes the catch, and he's going to reach out for the goal line. A knee and an elbow hit, but he bobbles the ball at the goal line. Right. Let's go back. I'm going to go back one bit, and we'll stop it right at the point, the important point here of when he makes the catch and turns for the goal line. Watch, a knee hits and his elbow hits, but as his hands hit the ground at the goal line. Here's the rule, and it goes back to the Calvin Johnson rule from 3 years ago. Complete the catch to the ground. Air quotes. Is that all the white boys do on the internet, the air quotes?
Not me.
So it's plain to see right here as he reaches out. He loses control of the ball reaching out. Watch. Catch. Now watch his knee. Down, turn. Okay. Here's the thing that bugs me about this rule. He's making a football play reaching for the end zone. If that happens in the middle of the field, not by the goal line, you know what that is, Nikki? It's a catch fumble. Because he clearly completes the catch, goes to a knee but isn't touched, and then spins and loses control of the ball but then picks it back up. So why can't you do that in the end zone? What's the difference?
No, I think it's weird because there's a different rule for whether. So at that point, when you make the catch, which is clear that he makes the catch, there's a different rule for a running back, and there's a different rule for a receiver. And there's no distinction of why that rule has been made one way or the other. So if you're a running back and you make that play, that's a touchdown. If you take a handoff and you make an effort for the end zone and the ball happens to slip out, you see his hand turn, you see the ball nudge the grass, like that's a touchdown. And what I don't understand is what is the difference between a running back that takes a handoff, okay, he's in control of the ball clearly, but a receiver that also takes clear control of the ball, which he does, and efforts for the end zone, and the ball happens to nudge the ground throughout. So, and what they say is, and what the rule has been said, it's surviving the ground.
That's right.
So what's the difference?
Surviving the ground.
What's the difference of surviving the ground?
My ultimate question to you, you're going to the right spaces, what is surviving the ground? Because I think we both agree, if that happened on, like, say, the 40-yard line, it's a catch, and then it's a fumble as he goes because he wasn't touched going to the ground, right? So he's still live. But then he just picks it back up.
Now, see, I disagree with you there. So by the letter of the law, and that's the thing, it's like the letter of the law, it's only enforced in certain situations.
And the end zone here is the important part is it's surviving the catch in the end zone.
But by the letter of the law, as they directed that game, was that it's an incomplete pass. So if you're saying on the 40-yard line, let's say that play happens on the 40-yard line.
40.
Now, number one, I don't think that anyone you'd have to challenge that, obviously, if it was outside of the 2-minute window. But I don't think that anyone would even challenge that because it's complete control of the ball. You see the control of the ball. The ball only comes loose from the ground. So I don't know. It's like I played football when I was younger. And my dad always told me the ground cannot cause a fumble. Nick, the ground cannot cause a fumble.
Except the ground can cause a fumble.
Right.
If you go to the ground before you're touched down by contact.
Or if it's within a certain amount of time before a catch.
Correct.
So that you have to look at a certain mentality. You have to look at a certain in law. There's a term called mens rea, right? It's the intent of the actual.
You've been watching confession tapes, haven't you?
I'm telling you. I was trying to get to law school, but I'm telling you, mens rea is the intent of the rule. What is the intent of the rule versus the intent of the action?
So actually, you make a good point here, and where you're going is important. And this is my whole theme of the breaking down the replays. When you watch that play live, and remember, the ruling on the field was touchdown. They had to go back and overturn it.
Right.
When you watch that play, it's watch an athlete make a play, make a move, and
Right.
it clearly was a touchdown, a catch. He completes the catch. What was the intent of that player? His intention was to reach out across the goal line to score a touchdown, but he clearly completed the catch, made the turn, and reached out. And that was an athletic move. It just so happens that as he hits the ground, the ball oscillates in his hand. And one thing that we need to talk about here is it's not like he completely lost the ball when he went to the ground.
Right.
It just moves in his hands.
Well, look at this first. Look at this first. What is how can you as a receiver, and obviously it's very difficult with the play moving as quickly as it does. The replay doesn't give us what the speed of the game is. Let's look at that, number one. But number two is, how can you as a receiver in the National Football League know in your mind and make a move toward the end zone without having control?
That's right.
Control of the ball.
Absolutely right. As soon as he caught that ball out in front and brought it in before he turns, he completed the catch.
To maneuver, to force a ball or at least motion toward the end zone, you have to have control of the ball. And isn't that the intent of the rule, to have control of the ball?
I agree with you, and we're on the same page, actually. You're, as always, a good straight man, because the next play that I want to go to is the Kelvin Benjamin catch no catch.
We might feel differently on this one.
We might, but to your point right off the bat, where you go is these guys are such incredible athletes, and what we're doing with breaking down these replays, the theme to this one is frame by frame. What happens on this play that I'm about to show you is, again, ruling on the field touchdown. If you watch this play live, it was one hell of a catch. And I want to emphasize the fact that it was a catch. And I will show you why.
We might want to play the advertisement before we jump into this.
It's gonna make noise. You're gonna hear it in the background.
But no, so this play that's coming up here, I might feel a little bit differently on this play. This is it's not as clear. And so when we watch these games in real time, you have to look at, number one, that the refs are making these calls on professional athletes. Are you all right?
Yeah, was that me?
I don't know what that was.
It might be the call.
Right. Let's look at these plays in real time. Okay, these are not easy plays, okay, but we now have the luxury of replay, and what you're gonna see is it's what do they call it? Conclusive evidence, right?
Well, here's the problem. So when we talk about that, the first play, right? To overturn the rule on the field in the NFL, the rule is you need inconclusive video evidence to overturn it.
Right.
When I look at the Jesse James catch that we just talked about, I didn't see inconclusive evidence to overturn it. I guess somehow they did. Again, on this next play here, the Kelvin Benjamin touchdown, Bills Patriots, I don't see inconclusive evidence.
And so the difference is, I think, is the way that the rule is written. The way that it's written, so you can make arguments for the Jesse James play, okay, based on the way that the rule is written and the way that there's only one way you can interpret it. If you do not survive the ground or control the ball through the ground, there's one way to interpret it. This one's a little bit different, I think.
This one is different. So let's get into this. This one I'm gonna rant on. I'm really passionate about this.
This was a phenomenal catch. By the way,
this is a phenomenal catch. All right, let's check this out. So Kelvin Benjamin.
Full screen me there.
I'm gonna full screen it. Hang on. So Kelvin Benjamin, this is super slow-mo too, so this is fantastic. So here he goes. Now, he already has control of it there.
Does he?
There's dragging his toe. That's a catch right there.
Where's his left foot?
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
His left foot toe tap
Rule
as
of
he's
the law.
catching the ball. Watch what happens here. This is huge. This is really, really huge. I want you to watch. It's a natural motion of a ridiculous athlete, and watch what happens. Right here, as soon as he grabs that ball there, the catch is complete. Look at his foot. It's down.
No, but
Foot's down.
But
now what
is that
happens
his right?
here?
Or is his right or left foot is maybe not down?
What happens here is, and you watch it. So he catches the ball with one hand.
Right.
As soon as I want to take it to the frame. right here, there's this crazy frame right here where it appears as though, because he caught the ball with one hand and then is bringing it in to cup, it appears as though the ball is actually not, they stopped it real time during the telecast, and it appears as though the ball is actually not touching his arm.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, before, you're talking about the feet, which we're going to get into, but at the top of it here, in terms of the ball control, you can't tell me that he doesn't completely control that ball.
But what's the call on the field? That's
the call
the part
on the field
of this
was a touchdown.
Okay.
The call on the field was a touchdown.
So that's the very, very, very important distinction between how these guys are making the calls. And it's not like, it's no longer a judgment call. It's based on, is there enough evidence? It's always, is there enough evidence? And when you bring that into it's a different factor where if you bring that in, it's, okay, what did we call first? What did we see initially? But you go through these, we're literally looking at this thing frame by frame, and we can't tell.
Frame by frame.
We still can't tell.
They slowed that thing down frame by frame. But what that does is it actually takes out of it the full athleticism in the movement, because what happens on this play is when we get to the feet part, as he's controlling here, okay, he taps his left foot, his right foot's down, and he toe drags his left foot through the end zone. Then he go ahead and to the point of controlling the catch to the ground, he now has to prepare himself to fall. And you don't want to fall on the ball when you're making a catch in the end zone, because then it may jar loose and they'll call it incomplete. So what he does is he then transfers the ball to his left arm because he's falling this way, so he can fall on his right arm shoulder. So what they say is in that full motion of the one-handed catch, bring in, move the ball here, fall, complete the catch. When you watch it real time, it was a catch. It was a catch, and he got his foot down, and everything looks great on the field call. I watched this replay 100 times, and every single time I do not see anywhere conclusive evidence to overturn this call, yet they overturned it on the field.
Well, it's the feet. It's the feet. It has to be the feet.
I guess you're right, because
to do all those motions that you just laid out, you know, it's step by step. There's obviously a mentality that, you know, he went into.
What Nick's talking about right
You have to look at the feet. That's what is.
This is the frame right here, and you can see that his one foot.
But is it
in? Is it down?
That makes it hard. That makes it hard because you don't know where that ball is.
Now let me ask you this:
control or not?
Let me ask you this: the call on the field was touchdown. Is this enough evidence to overturn that call?
I don't think so. When I watched it real time, I thought
ruling on the field stands.
Yeah,
that should have been a ruling on the field stands.
I literally watched this real time, and I thought that's an unbelievable catch. Ruling on the field stands.
Ruling on the field stands.
I disagreed with their call.
You need inconclusive video evidence to overturn that.
And you know what makes me like really kind of upset about this? So if this was any other team. If this call was against any other team beside the Patriots, like I listened to like Howard Eskin, and he's like, the Patriots cheat. The Patriots cheat. They should be. So it makes me feel like, oh, dude,
I fired up J-Rod with that.
It's bad that I even look into who it's against and think that the league is for one team or another. But I mean, that went into my thought process, just looking at that play. When I watched that real time, I thought to myself, that's a catch, no doubt. And then when they came out and they said no catch, it's like, wait a second, are the Patriots? It's the Patriots. Something has to be wrong.
Why is it always that it's the Patriots? Look at the first two that we just did was the Patriots.
Literally,
and they always found the right end. So
and they should have been on the wrong side of both of them.
Both of those.
They should have lost that Pittsburgh game. What was the final score in the Bills game?
Well, so that's it. What happened here in the Bills game? The end of the game actually ended up being a blowout because the Patriots ran away with 2 touchdowns.
It doesn't matter.
But if they count that touchdown there, the Bills take a 17-13 lead into halftime, and it's a different game. Instead, they overturn the call, and they take a field goal, and it's 13-13. And they lost the momentum of that incredible catch and that full drive. And everything happened in that game. And I don't know if the Bills win that game, but it's a different game.
You have to that has to be explored as far as momentum's a big thing in the game. Sure. And I think that you saw that in the Cotton Bowl the other night. I think that pick six like sucked the wind out of any sails that USC had. Yeah, I do want to talk about that game. That was a big deal. I told you about the Big Ten, and the Big Ten is much stronger than people give them credit for this year. And it's all we can get in. Let's get in the college system. Do you want to get in the college system?
Well,
it fires me up.
Can I do my LeBron play?
Yeah. Are we gonna go from? We're gonna do
this is
AFC to
my third replay. Let me ask you a question.
Eastern Conference.
Let me ask you a question.
Eastern Western Conference.
Why do we have replay in the NBA?
To get certain things right. I think it evolves, man. Like, so you saw the replay with football and baseball. It's an evolving technology. It's an evolving rule that these leagues are taking into effect. What is this?
We have an ad plan.
All right.
So
it evolves. That's the bottom line. Is that it had to start it somewhere. And it started somewhere in the NFL where certain things were out of bounds. You could not replay that. And you can't replay like a holding call in the NFL. You can't replay certain things in Major League Baseball. You can't replay a ball and a strike. You can replay a fair foul if it's a home run. But it evolves. And I think it's going to continue.
You're going on the right path here. And I can't find a video for this, but we're just going to talk on it. So
yeah.
Here's the thing about this whole play that got to me on this game. Now, Nick's going on the right path. Replay's evolving in the NBA. First off, I don't believe we need it. Why are we reviewing if a shot...
I disagree with you.
Why are we reviewing if a guy got the shot off in time before the end of the quarter or the end of the half? That call is made. The referees make the call, and that's it. And why are we reviewing if a guy stepped out of bounds or who touched the ball last? Let the referees on the floor make the call.
No, man. I disagree with you so much.
You can't go. My theme on this one is you have to go full time on replay. You can't half time it, as we like to say, half ass it. Right now, the NBA half ass it, and I'll tell you why. The final closing minutes of the Christmas Day game, Warriors versus the Cavs. The Cavs are down 3. LeBron James is driving to the hoop. Kevin Durant picks him up at the top of the key. As he's going to go by him, ball in his left hand, Durant makes some contact. Could have been construed as a foul, but
some contact?
They let him play.
Wait, some contact?
He fouled. He fouls him instantly at the top. But LeBron's strong enough that he gets through it. Then, as he's going to the hole, LeBron goes up and Durant catches him across the arms, fouls him again in midst of the layup. In the process here, the ball leaves LeBron's hands. Durant touches the ball, but then LeBron ends up touching it again as it goes out of bounds.
Right.
The call on the court was the correct call for the game. Any referee that's reffed anywhere from bitty basketball to NBA will tell you this. He didn't call the foul, and LeBron may or may not have touched the ball last to go out of bounds, but he's going to give it to LeBron because he didn't call the foul. He let them play. Durant definitely touched the ball and altered the shot out of bounds. So the correct play there is to give the Cavaliers the ball, no foul, let them play, everybody's happy. What ends up happening is since you can't review fouls, but you can review out of bounds, they check the out of bounds for the ball, which initially was called Cavs, gets overturned. Now the Warriors got the ball, but they don't get to, as you watch this replay where LeBron gets hacked twice, clearly you can't review that because you're not allowed to replay fouls.
Yeah, and there's two different types of calls in the NBA. There's judgment calls, and there's factual, like, look at the video information.
Correct.
And
an out of bounds play, for instance, is a factual.
Like, okay, so there has to be a point in between. But if, let's say, we go to a system that allows for the review of fouls, how long is that game going to be?
I agree, and that's why I don't want it. I think you can't for basketball you can't review these judgment fouls.
But like, let's go back. This has been something that I've wondered for since I've started watching sports, and it's kind of an interesting thing to think about. But think of the way the course of sports history would have changed had we had replay dating back to, let's say, like 1980. How does every league, how does every conference, how does every game change if we have the luxury, or at least just the willingness to take replay into effect dating back to, let's just say their early 80s or something like that. Maybe maybe certain close games, like certain close Super Bowls. It comes to mind certain early Super Bowls in the 90s. Like, how do those games change if we have challenges? If we have replays? We might be thinking of completely different. It kind of sets a legacy for certain people based on like those games.
I totally agree with you.
That we haven't had. It changes the course of a season that we don't even know.
I think we're in agreement, and my whole theme for the entire replay. You want me to land that plane for you?
No, I mean, I'm just telling you. I'm just saying, like, that changes a whole season. Who knows? Who knows how things play out?
No, and I'm with you. So
you see where I was going, right?
I got you. So you're right, and that's my whole point about this is that these replays, their ripple effects. So the Bills game ends up being a blowout, but that replay, that touchdown impacted the whole game, and it's a whole NFL season. Patriots-Steelers game, and now this LeBron KD game. Yeah, it's a regular season game, but that sets a precedence. And if that replay doesn't happen, the call on the court or on the field for each of these should have stood, but it didn't. And this is actually a new phenomenon. I had a bonus one here real quick because you were talking about the Big Ten, and I was all over the Wisconsin game last night. Shout out Matty H, who tried to bet out of that game when the U got up early. He took the U minus 6.5, but Wisconsin still came through for us. Anyway, the first drive for Wisconsin, the running back is down by contact, and the ball comes out, and the call on the field was down by contact, and everything's good. We're going to keep going. We're watching the replay. All of a sudden, they replay it and overturn it. They said it was a fumble. And I'm sitting here with a friend of mine watching the game, and we go, show me the inconclusive evidence to overturn the call on the field there. And it just didn't exist. It's a new phenomenon where who's making these decisions? Like, I don't see it. I don't understand. If I understand the rule on these replays that you need inconclusive video evidence, I just gave you 4 examples.
Well, we know the rule. We know the rule, right? You know the rule. Every broadcast you hear it. And what's really interesting is if you actually watch some of these replays without the audio. Put your TV on mute. Okay?
Yeah, don't listen to the commentary.
Don't listen to the commentary.
Good point.
Put your TV on mute and watch the Jesse James replay. Watch the Kelvin Benjamin replay. Watch a lot of things. Because the announcers, and Tony Romo specifically, he's a good salesman, right?
Absolutely. He's talking me into it.
I have watched Tony Romo on a number of occasions talk me into, like, yeah, dude, like, yeah, I see that, like, 100%, right? 100%. So put your stuff on mute and watch the replays when they're plays like that, and you can judge for yourself, and you can actually dissect what we called the letter of the law earlier.
Absolutely.
Like it's a lot. It's kind of interesting because I did that with the Tony Romo play. When he was calling the Patriots and Steelers game. That was a huge game. It determined...
it's going to be home field advantage.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Drop the playoffs.
And I was glad because I was on the Patriots side of that based on our picks.
Actually, what I forgot to mention. So we went on those Patriots rants, but we both had the Patriots minus 2.5 that week. And because of that call, they ended up winning by 3.
Yeah.
So we're being unbiased when we talk about the fact that we're just trying to get it right. And we understand that bringing replay into these games, the whole crux of it is to try and get the call right.
Right.
But what I feel like we're doing is we're over-analyzing the replay to where we're not getting the calls right. Mm-hmm. We're taking it too far now. So that's, I think that's all I have on the replay. Do you have anything else on the replay?
Put your TV on mute. Watch the plays for yourself.
So what Nikki was saying, I pulled all them up on YouTube. So as you're watching your From the Hill episodes, go ahead and just search on YouTube for those plays, and they're all silent. You can watch the slow-mo replay and make your own decision. But
don't let Tony Romo make your decision for you.
Don't let Tony Romo make your decision for you. Don't ever let a Cowboys quarterback make any decision for you. Ever. Although I like Troy when he calls the games. Troy does a good job. Yeah. So before we get into the pick segment, I wanted to cover a couple things here that we have sort of local bets. So the Prof has a college football poll. Coach T's running it, although props got him pretty fired up this morning here. The text wheel is going heavy. Where they picked the last 10 college bowl games, right, and they weighted them 1 to 10. The last update that I saw this morning from Coach T was that you guys
should be even.
You guys are both 2 and 3.
Wait, there was an email this morning.
Yeah, he sent it out this morning. Coach T's all over it, bro. You gotta cut him some slack.
You gotta wake up.
Yeah. So
extra coffee.
You guys are both. Yeah, I told you.
Are we tied up?
We can fire to carry. Yeah. No, we're both 2 and 3. The score's 17-15.
2 and 3.
Yeah, you're both 2 and 3 in your picks.
Oh, yeah.
You stink. So, but J-Rod has the lead right now. I think by the way it plays out, you are in a little bit better of a situation by the games that you have weighted in points.
Naturally. I want to change the game.
So the winner of this has to. What's the bet here, Nikki? They got to buy a new softball bat.
Yeah, we're big softball guys. So those of you that know Jack know he's a big softball player. He's a very heavy hitter in the Philadelphia area softball game. So I am of the same ilk, and we bet that the loser has to buy the winner a new softball bat. Which, if you've ever dabbled, you know that softball bats get pretty pricey. So it's gonna be fun. Bernie.
So what I actually wanted to do, and we were talking about this week for this bet. I mean, softball bats are great, but I think I got like 2 sitting behind us right now. What I really wanted to do, I don't know how it came up, but I was throwing out the gif of Jonah Hill in Accepted, where he's standing in the middle of campus in the hot dog suit saying, "Ask me about my wiener!"
South Harmon
Institute of Technology.
Yeah, man. That was before all those guys got popular, famous.
That was early Jonah. I wanted the loser of that bet to have to go to Bridgeport Wawa out front in the hot dog outfit and tell everybody, ask me about my wiener.
We would fit in very well at the Bridgeport Wawa.
Yeah, that didn't fly. But so we'll update you guys after the college bowl games who wins. Maybe we'll do like a live bat reveal, something, because people are so interested in softball.
Yeah, I bet.
Everybody loves softball.
I bet they are.
I know Sion's riveted on the group text for that.
Sion.
So,
all right.
Another cool thing that I had here. So 2 nights ago, we were out, and if you want to, real quick, we can do a quick Jimmy Graps praise, our weekly Jimmy Graps praise.
Let's sponsor this. Let's sponsor the pick segment.
All right. Well, we're not at the picks yet, but before we do, we'll preempt it because we gotta pay the bills too. So we got a sponsorship for the pick segment. But quick Jimmy Graps praise. Looks like the truth out in San Fran.
Holmes, I'm telling you, this guy is the truth. Love him.
So on that end, we were talking about Tom Brady and the Patriots, and I was out with 2 friends of mine, and we set a bet. The bet is over under. I'm going to ask Nikki what he thinks about it first before I tell you what side I'm on and what the stakes are. So Booha, over under, after this season's complete, that would be even Super Bowl, whatever, for the Patriots. Over under, how many more NFL games will Tom Brady play? Because the number's set at 20. Over under, do you take?
Well, that's pretty interesting. Over under 20, I say over.
So you're a smart man. So your boy Swags took the over, and the Major William Getz and Matthew Thomas High both took the under. So they're both on the underside. I took the over.
Well, but listen. So I say the over based on like my. I love Tom Brady. I love Bill Belichick. I love watching them like dissect the entire league, but I think it's what Billy wants, Billy gets is based on good information.
Well, they both think that if the Pats win the Super Bowl this year, Tom may hang them up this year.
Well, so okay, he might, but that I think that's a little bit.
See,
that's hard to call because, but what I'm saying based on their information is okay. You look at Belichick, look at Brady, look at the 2 quarterbacks that they just released. That's a huge factor, right?
That's my point. He's not going anywhere, honestly. So here's the deal.
But no, I know where you're going with this. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You go. You go ahead. I'll cut you off.
Here's the deal for me. This TB12 thing, he's found new life in extending his playing career, and he's going to make it a point to play 3 more years. Those guys think he doesn't play more than 2. I say he plays 3, and I see no way in the next 3 seasons, and that's post this year, that he doesn't get at least 20 games in.
I think he has 2 more years, okay?
And that should equal 20 games.
But, so 20 games. Yeah, the guy, I mean, he missed that one stretch when he got his knee destroyed. But that was the only time he ever missed. But when you look at, like, Belichick and what they're doing is they got rid of Garoppolo, the heir apparent, right? They got rid of Brissett. I don't know. What is he? I think Brissett's okay. He's an okay quarterback. But I think that Belichick's kind of setting up an era where his dynasty cannot be followed up on. Does that make sense?
It does. So
it's diabolical.
No, actually,
it's diabolical.
Well, there's a crazy thing about Jimmy Graps, Belichick, and Brady. That whole saga that I heard a lot of people talking about. Actually, credit Ryan Russillo, who's no longer on the air, who I'm a big fan of.
Dude, you credit Russillo every show.
I'm a big fan of Ryan.
As much as I credit Calvin.
I wonder where he's going because he's not doing his show anymore. I'm kind of sad about that. Anyway, so he talked about this. Belichick really wanted to coach Garoppolo after Brady was gone. Like, he was all about coaching Jimmy Graps.
Says who? Russillo?
Listen, he's tied in up there, bro. They're up there in Bristol. So, Belichick, I think that once Brady's done in 3 years, he's going to retire with him. I mean, Belichick's no spring chicken. And what does he have to keep coaching for after Tom? He doesn't have Jimmy there where he wanted to get a couple years with Jimmy and coach him next. He's going to have to go find himself a quarterback. I think he's out with Tom.
Well,
They're tied at the hip now.
You make a good point. Like, so if they do win the Super Bowl this year, what does he have to? I mean, what else do you have to go after?
He's going to Belichick's going to stay as long as Tom stays, and then they're going to go out together.
So Tom says in the media that he has he wants to play until he's 45 or whatever. He's not going to do that. But by getting rid of Garoppolo and Brissett, I think that Belichick has a lot of influence in that respect, and that he's shown that he can move players when he wants to. He can bring players in when he wants to, i.e. James Harrison, which is an interesting story this week. But I think that he really has I think by trading those 2 guys, he's kind of gotten rid of the this dynasty behind me. He doesn't want anybody to come in behind him and just say, "Oh, this was a product of these players and this organization." He wants it to be, "This was a product of me."
Me. It's very Belichickian.
Right.
He'll leave nothing behind.
Right.
Patriots turn into the Browns when he's done. Breaking news.
And you know what? They were that before he got there. They weren't. The Patriots weren't some dynasty before he got there, which is, it's something to say. But with, let's say that Bledsoe never comes toward the sideline and never gets knocked out, and Tom Brady never comes into that game, are we writing the same history? Like, it's just one of those fun things to think about, and I don't know if it ever happens, but obviously for the 6th round draft pick, number 190 whatever overall,
the GOAT,
things worked out pretty good for the guy. Arthur.
So those are the 2 bets that we have going on locally. Everybody, these are all listeners to the show, although I think Coach T might unsubscribe to FTH. I'm on fire.
He hates me.
We're gonna get into the pick segment.
He hates me.
But we gotta make the money.
Yeah, man.
Make the money. So we're gonna get into the pick segment. Who's the pick segment brought to you by?
Today's entire podcast is brought to you by Pooch Patrol, the premier dog walking and pup care provider in the Philadelphia area. Does your pup need to lose some energy throughout the day? Is he or she lonely or bored while you slave away to buy them food and treats? Well, call Pooch Patrol, the most reasonably priced dog walking service in the industry. Search Pooch Patrol on the web or check Facebook and mention From the Hill for the best discount possible. Pooch Patrol, an easy solution to a happier and healthier pooch. Guaranteed.
Okay.
Call him.
Call him up. Give him a call. Pooch Patrol. That's our good buddy. All right, so we're going to get into the pick segment. Everybody wants to get into the picks. I'm going to start tooting my own horn as I did at the start of the video. 9-3 documented ATS. Your boy Swags. I got a theme for this week, NFL. But before we get NFL, it's New Year's Eve. Tomorrow's New Year's Day. College football playoffs. Nikki,
Yes.
give us your. I'm going to give you right now both. This is a crazy thing. I just checked the live lines this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Both SEC teams in the college football playoffs are 3-point favorites. Who you got?
Oh, Georgia went back up.
Georgia's up at 3. Who you got? Dogs,
All right.
Sooners. Who you got, Nikki?
Interesting stuff. Alabama -3 over Clemson. Crazy line. This is a crazy line. This is a line that screams to you. Okay, write it down. Write it down.
I'm taking notes.
This is a line that screams to you. Okay, Alabama opens at -1. That looks okay. Moves quickly to -4. It's back down to -3 right now, right? Is that what you have it at?
Yep.
All right.
Alabama, roll tide, -3.
So, as a number 1 seed in the overall tournament, you look at Clemson, you say they have to be favored, right? Why is Alabama a favorite here? Do you have an answer for that?
Nick Saban.
It's based on previous history, right? That's what you have to think.
Yeah.
But look at Clemson. They have the same history as Alabama.
Agreed.
So this is a real this line is really telling you something. Don't look into it any further than that, okay?
I think I know where he's going.
Take Alabama.
He's rolling tide.
Roll
Damn.
Tide.
All right, so you got Tide. What about
Tide.
the Dogs? You got the Dogs or you got the
Oh,
Sooners?
this one tears at me a little bit, okay? Because you look at the line and you say, okay, Georgia is a 3-point favorite, right? What is it now?
3. Dogs by 3.
They're at 3. They went down to 2.5 earlier this morning. They're back up to 3. Based on the line alone and based on process and based on Profit's system,
Drop system.
you take Georgia here.
He's going Dogs.
My heart tells me something
He
different.
wants. So what's the official? Give us the official Prof pick.
Here is
Dogs or Sooners?
Here is what Prof's heart feels, okay? I listened to an interview yesterday from a completely just Baker Mayfield, right? Did you see the interview?
I did. He was,
All right.
He's coming off his little illness
He's
there.
very ill. He's
Very sick.
very sick. Baker Mayfield has a propensity to give you some drama. Does he not? He loves the drama. He loves the effect. He loves being the center of attention. Baker Mayfield is going to come out in this game, and he's going to give you the Michael Jordan flu game.
I've heard that elsewhere too. I think Jesse Palmer said that.
What?
He was Jesse Palmer saying that yesterday too.
Really?
Great minds think alike, boo ha.
I don't watch Jesse Palmer because he's on The Bachelor, but
Got the handsome devil.
this guy, Baker Mayfield, is going to come out and he's going to give you an insane game. My process says Georgia. My heart says
Boomer Sooner.
Sooner, baby.
So where are you going?
Sooners.
He's going Sooners.
Sooners all the way, outright. Take them.
Right.
Outright Sooners, huh? All right. So,
Don't draft Baker Mayfield.
oh, that's,
Don't draft him.
save that.
But-
Save that. Next. So
This guy is the real deal. He's going to bring some intensity in this game. It's going to be fun to watch.
save the Baker Mayfield talk
All right.
when we get to the end of the show. We're going to
Sorry.
We're going to get into next week.
All
We're
right.
going to do that.
Excited.
Preview. Mel Kiper.
Other games. Can I
Hold on. Let
throw
me,
some other games?
let Swags give his college
sorry.
picks. So, I have an agreement with you on the Alabama Clemson game. Roll Tide. I agree with you on the line move. I agree that Clemson should be favored in that game when you start as the number 1 team. I love Clemson's front 4, but Bama -3 is telling me Bama. And as much as I labored over this pick, I really wanted to take Clemson, but I can't. Roll Tide. God damn it, Roll Tide.
Interesting, too. Take the under.
Nikki likes the under. That's a bonus pick.
Take the under, okay? This is a bonus pick because these
I
are...
don't know what that number is, though.
So when you look at Clemson of years past and you look at Alabama of years past, you think, okay, this is going to be a high-scoring game. But these are two really, really strong defenses in college football, and I think they fight it out. I think it's going to be a tough game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. No, in the teens.
That's not true.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I think that in these games, what has had a tendency to happen is the first half they come out tight and the defenses dominate, and then they open up in the second half. I think the last 2 games have gone over because they'll end up having like game-winning drives. When they get late and the game's tight, they just sling it around. So I actually would take that over there. I don't know what the number is. We'd have to look at the number.
Yeah, so take the under then.
So let's go up to Dogs, Sooners. Nikki and I are in agreement on principle. The fact that Georgia's a 3-point favorite is telling. I'm not going to take the Sooners. I'm going to roll chalk here, and I'm going to take the Dogs, and I'm going all SEC final. I got Dogs, Bama, SEC final.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Georgia covers the number. I think their defense pushes Oklahoma around. I don't think Baker Mayfield has seen a defense of that caliber. Don't give me Ohio State. At the time, Ohio State was playing bad, and Ohio State stinks still. Okay?
Stop.
All right. Let's go.
Stop. We need a Big Ten team in this final. I would have put them in over Alabama, even though I'd pick Alabama to win the game, but
oh, good for you. All right, let's go NFL.
Yep.
Let's go NFL. So I'm going to let the prof start. Prof, you want to tell the folks about last week, or you just want to... You can just put your head in the sand and go make your picks. I'll talk about my prowess.
Let's glaze over it. It was a bad week.
Prof had a rough week. He had a rough week. He gave you Jimmy Graps.
I did give you that one.
And not only did he give you that with the points, you know what the Niners did last week? Outright.
Yep.
Outright over the
I'm
Jets.
telling you, dude, this guy's the real deal, and he's in my picks again this week.
Here he's going. All right, go ahead, Nicky.
All right.
To us. Niners. You got Niners at Rams. I checked that
Hey,
line.
weird
That's
lines this week. -5. I have it at -4.5. It's up to -5. The Rams open at -7. They have since shifted to +5. Take San Francisco. This is a crazy line. And what's weird about this is that we now know that the Rams are not going to play their starters, which speaks to the line shift. But it's weird, and it's telling actually on a local level, because the Rams have an opportunity to cinch up the 3 seed, and they've neglected to care about that at all, which actually tells you they're not worried about the number 1 seed, the 2 seed. It doesn't matter who they play. They're not worried about it. This is the Sean McVay factor. This is awesome. This is why I like the Rams. This is why I love Sean McVay, because he doesn't care who they play. He knows that they're a very strong contender in the NFC. I don't know how you feel about that. It kind of scares me as an Eagles fan a little bit, because he doesn't really care.
Well, I think we talked about this last week. What I think is that these teams in the NFC smell blood in the water. We were talking about this last night. If Carson Wentz right now is healthy, the Eagles are the runaway favorites in the NFC.
Right.
But he's not. And
Right.
so all these teams smell blood in the water. There's not a team scared to come to Philly in the second round and play the Eagles with Nick Foles.
Well, with that, I think you actually would rather play the Eagles than you would play the Vikings.
I agree.
I mean, because
that could
if
be the Rams'
who's
philosophy.
who's
Maybe they finish 4th, and if they win, they have like Carolina. Well, I'm not going to give it away. Sorry.
so whose defense would you rather play right now? Would you rather play Minnesota or the Eagles?
The Eagles. Certainly.
Whose offense would you rather play as a defensive team? Would you rather play the Vikings or the Eagles?
The Eagles.
Exactly. So I think it's pretty telling that what they're doing here. These guys are sitting today, and I think it's a smart move on the part of Sean McVay. I hate to say it as an Eagles fan, but it's the guy knows what he's doing, right?
I agree.
All right, so that's my first pick. Take San Francisco over LA. They're basically giving them the game, it seems like. And Jimmy Garoppolo is a legitimate quarterback in this league, I think. He's turned a complete turd team into a team that has won a couple of how many games did they just win? 3 in a row?
Yeah, they're ruining their draft
Right.
prospects.
But if you have a quarterback, these things are a little more manageable.
And they don't need to go get a quarterback in this year's draft.
Exactly.
Right. So.
And they got him for nothing. So my next pick, and Jack will hate this pick because he has circled the wagons many weeks in a row. Miami plus 2.5 versus the Bills. So the Bills are still in this thing. They are still fighting for a spot at the playoffs. They're still fighting to eke their way in. So why are they not a bigger favorite, even though they're on the road, why are they not a bigger favorite against Miami this week?
So Nikki and I actually had a riveting discussion about home field advantage in Miami off air, and so we wanted to bring it on air. When I looked at this, I disagree with his take on this, not because I circle the wagons, by the way. I'm not taking that game this week. But when I look at that game, the game's in Miami. If I were to set the line, like we like to do in our line system, I would have set that at 6. The fact that it's at 2.5, 3, I'm okay with because I'll take the 3 points being a home division rival, and Miami's at home. And what Prof comes back with is what's home field advantage in Miami? Home field advantage in Miami is that your opposing players are in Miami the night before. Like, all these pro athletes go to Miami, and it's party time. And they're on South Beach last night. That's home field. These guys that are in Miami, like Cutler, well, Cutler's married anyway, so what does he care? But these guys are there all year. They're used to it. You come to Miami, they go out, they party.
This is a poor argument.
Dragging ass.
This is a poor argument.
This is documented, bro.
This is a poor argument.
Documented.
And I'll tell you why, because Tom Brady has, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago, is he has a bad history in Miami, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, they got spanked.
Is Tom Brady going out on South Beach and going down the, is he out there partying every night?
He might be.
No, he's not.
Well,
this is the most disciplined player in the history of the league.
You know who is? All those receivers he's got. You think Julian Edelman and Amendola are not partying Sunday night?
Wait, okay. All right, so my pick is Miami, right?
You took Miami.
My pick is Miami over the Bills.
Bills. You like the Dolphins.
Yeah, all right. So then, with your theory, you would agree with that, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm not taking the Bills this week.
Okay.
I was just talking about the line.
We just want to argue.
Yeah.
The line is weird.
The home field advantage discussion. Well, you're right, because teams in Miami don't fill up the stands. Right? We talked about the Marlins last week. But
yeah, I might have been wrong on my take on the Marlins last week, by the way, based on some additional information. No, they're talking about getting rid of Yelich and Real Muto, but that's a mistake. Sorry. If that's what's happening, that's a mistake.
Just wanted to tell you that.
Exactly right.
All right. So far, Nikki's got the Finns plus 2.5 and the Niners minus 5.
Take Finns plus 2.5. Take San Francisco. Lock it in. Okay. Take Miami plus 2.5. Next one I have, which is a really interesting pick based on movement, is Tampa Bay plus 5.5 versus New Orleans. This is interesting, and I'll tell you why. Opens up at New Orleans minus 9. Now we're at, and I don't know if Jack has an update on this, but it's now at New Orleans minus 5.5. That's a pretty crazy move. Tampa Bay is at home. Divisional games, as we discussed last week and the week before, are very tough as usual. I did a little segment yesterday on my own little podcast on Tampa Bay, and it's such a weird organization in that they've come out and they've said now that they're keeping Dirk Cutter based on what? I don't know. Because you have offense. What? What's that?
Bucks plus 6.
Okay. So it's close. It's close to what I have, Matt. But you have an offensive, what appears on paper to be an offensive juggernaut. And what they've done all year is just disappoint people. It's based on the quarterback. But Jameis Winston he's one of these guys that he's got the athleticism, he's got the arm talent, he can make the throws, but he doesn't have it mentally. He cannot tell himself to not try to make the extra throw, throw it out of bounds, take a sack. He does not have that. But this is a weird line today. They have the talent. They have the Mike Evans. They have the Deshaun Jackson, Cameron Brate, O.J. Howard at the tight ends. They have Doug Martin. They have so much offensive talent. And to bring back a guy like Dirk Cutter, who's done absolutely nothing with this talent, I don't really understand. There was talk earlier in the week about they were trying to bring John Gruden back, but now he looks like he's interested in the Raiders job. Different discussion, different day, but for today, take Tampa Bay over New Orleans. I don't know why. I don't know how, but the line moves that way. It looks like it's a lock for me.
Yeah, there's Week 17 lines everywhere. Like, I'm going down. That Browns line is still falling towards the Browns. It's down to 5. I bet you that by game time that drops to 3 because we're still an hour before game launch, and that line is just plummeting because Pittsburgh announced that they're going to sit Ben and they're going to sit Le'Veon. And does Cleveland ruin my parade? You think this week? You think they sneak by a depleted Pittsburgh team or a Pittsburgh team just sitting everybody? You think they break the defeated streak?
I stay away from that because you don't know. I mean, you don't know who's going to.
I hate betting on bad teams anyway.
You don't know with that, so I stay away from that. But the last pick that I have is Indy is -5.5. Wait, I said Indy. Indianapolis is -5.5.
Texans coming to town. The Colts are still -5.5.
Yeah, facing Houston at home. And that's a weird line. You look at Chuck Pagano is going to be...
He's on the hot seat.
No, he's not on the hot seat. He's gone. He's not on the hot seat. It's not hot anymore. He's gone. Chuck Pagano is gone. And then Houston has come back and said that they're going to be retaining Bill O'Brien. So Bill O'Brien's staying in Houston, which I like Bill O'Brien. I do. He doesn't have a quarterback until Deshaun Watson comes back. Let's see what the guy does with Deshaun Watson. He looked pretty good with him, right? But Indy -5.5 is a very very telling line. Take Indy.
All right.
What do you got?
All right, so I got a 3-pack as always for you. Guys, my theme of the week, Nikki touched on it. There's Week 17 lines everywhere. This is just a crazy week in the NFL.
Yuck.
My biggest take for you this week is look at these lines, and the ones that jump out to you are because teams are going to rest guys. If you're betting on games this week, don't even watch the first half because it's going to be a different second half when all these guys are in and not playing. Find the teams resting players. I'm going with 3. I'm going to start right here in Philly. The Cowboys come to town. This line is actually a lot shorter than I was expecting. I was expecting the Cowboys to be up around a touchdown. But they're actually only at 3. I'm still taking it. Take the Cowboys -3. Cowboys are out of playoffs, but the Eagles are going to let their guys get some reps. Foles needs to get into a rhythm, but the entire defense will be out probably after the first series, and I don't see any of the starters playing the second half. So the Cowboys will run away late and cover. So take the Cowboys -3. Prof and I are together on the Niners game. It doesn't look like the Rams are going to play anybody. That line's at -5. Take it up to 7. Who cares? I think the Rams are in the same boat as the Eagles. They're not going to play anybody. And Jimmy Graffs is the truth. The Niners will run away late. They'll cover that number. And then this one I saw jumped out at me. One, because of the number. And I'm going to keep playing with fire here that I did last week. The Jets are +15 at New England. I don't see the Pats playing their starters past the first half because they have home field advantage locked up. So what's the reason for them to play Brady in the third quarter? They won't. And that's plenty of points for the Jets to come back late.
But that's weird. Don't take it.
And get into a cover.
But that's weird.
Take the Jets.
No.
Actually, if you're feeling bold because that number is so big, you might even go Jets.
Outright.
No, that number means you are not privy to certain information.
Listen
Don't take that game.
Listen. 9-3 swags. Stick with me.
All
Those
right.
are my
yeah,
picks.
I'll give them that.
Cowboys -3,
NFL picks.
Niners -5, Jets +15. Those are my 3. Bank them.
Rack that.
Oh, Baldy.
All right.
Rack that guy.
What do you think of mine? You don't have any opinion on mine?
Yeah. All right. You want me to break them down? So I'll tell you what play. All right. The Dolphins game we talked about. I wouldn't take that game, but I wouldn't take the Bills either. I'd stay away from it. I love the Niners pick. Dude, I hate betting on the Bucs because I hate Jameis
I
Winston.
know. I actually don't either because I've done it before. But the line tells you, dude, like, wake up. Look at this.
It does. So, but I hate the Bucs pick. I love the Colts. I think they're going to destroy the Texans.
Pagano out.
They're going to play for him last game.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's not a full touchdown.
These things go into that. It's weird. So Pagano out. Weird stuff going on with some of the coaching things. Raiders looking at Gruden. We've heard this from literally every team,
You think
and
he actually leaves the booth?
we've heard this from every team. I think putting him back down when he got inducted to the Buccaneers Ring of Fame or whatever, maybe that triggered something in him. He's like, I really want to get back into
He's
this.
got the itch.
I don't know. So, Raiders to pursue Gruden, Texans to retain Bill O'Brien, John Fox expected out of Chicago. How many retreads can we go through in 1 year? Chuck Pagano out at Indy. Jim Schwartz expected to interview with the Giants. Interesting one. When can we do away with the
Recycle coach.
No, the pre-playoff interviews for coaches? It's
Can't stand it.
It's like it just sucks the air out of, like, if you're a defensive player on the Eagles team and you see like your D coordinator, or, you know, a guy that you've trusted and talked to and has helped you play well all year, and if you see him going to another team to interview,
door, right?
like what's the thought process in the NFL for having these interviews opened up that early in the season? Like, can we not wait till after you're eliminated? Like, can there be and I understand that you have to jump on these things, but okay, let's do it after the Super Bowl. Like, make that the deadline. You can't do this during the season.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree with you. I hate that. I hate it in college. They hire these guys before bowl games.
Right.
We were talking about UCF 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And their coach, they did it the right way, actually, because he's going to coach their bowl game and stay. But then it's an up and down. Like, do the players, does he care? Is he there? Right. And it's the same thing in the NFL. You can't interview guys that have teams in the playoffs. Belichick does it. He has a no interview policy. You can't interview his assistants while the Patriots are still alive, which is always, right, because they seem to make the Super Bowl every year or the AFC Championship every year. He won't let his guys interview until their season's done, as he shouldn't, because they have a job to do. They have to prepare.
It should be across the board.
Yeah, this is what you're doing. You're preparing for the playoffs. You play all season to prepare, not to play all season to prepare to interview for another job.
Right. And you know what, the same thing kind of applies to these. You mentioned the bowl games, and there has been players that sit out of these bowl games. So, do you think this is we might open up a new half-hour segment?
I know.
Here.
Well, that's why. So,
do you think that these players would be sitting out if they were in a playoff system?
So, all right.
And that's the biggest question. We could do a whole show.
So that's the big teaser for next week. Nikki's teasing you. So next week, big show. We're going to be in studio again. We're going to talk about guys sitting out the bowl games, who did, who didn't. Would you do it? We're going to talk about Mel Kiper's draft board already came out. We're going to talk about picks. We'll know the NFL draft order by then, so we're going to talk about who's looking at what. Big show next week.
Sam Darnold hot takes.
Sam Darnold hot takes. I'm a big Rosen fan. We got a lot of content for next weekend, so check it out. We're going to wrap up today's show. Thanking the Prof, as always, for coming out here this morning. We will make sure that this is out before the picks here this morning, before the 1 o'clock games go off, so you can benefit from Swag's great picks and Nikki's questionable picks.
My NFL picks have been
Nikki's
bad.
questionable
Take
picks.
my college picks.
All right.
So Bernie agrees. As always, thanks everybody for listening to the show. If you like it, give us a thumbs up. Give us a subscribe on YouTube. Throw your comments down in the comments section. Text us. Text the show. Coach T, please forgive my colleague here to the right. He's just messing with you in his Oklahoma City Thunder hat. That's it, folks. From the Hill. Dunzo for the day. Get ready. New Year's Eve. Everybody be safe. Don't drink and drive. Uber. Get a taxi. Don't drink and drive. Amateur night. Be safe.
And don't drink and drive.
Swags out.
See you guys.